for us. It really stirs up that things that's in our flesh, and we start avoiding those places. We don't expose ourselves to some of these temptations that are out there in which we really recognized. We were warned about our desires as well, that a lot of these sins and these illicit or just sins, these things begin with a desire. It begins with a desire that we have. So I'm warned that maybe we should be searching our hearts and taking a look at the desires that we have. We need to snuff these things out. Yeah, so that was a quick recap there of some of the things we talked about. And today we're going to pick up our reading at verse 16. And Sister Chief was going to read for us this morning, verse 16 to verse 25. And as she reads, I'm going to ask that we follow along in our Bibles or devices if we are able to. But any other thought from yesterday? We had some really insightful comments as usual. Any thoughts, comments, questions from yesterday? Anything we want to sort of take a look at before we pick up our reading this morning? Okay, so Sister Chief will be reading for us, and she's reading James chapter 1, beginning with verse 16, all the way down to verse 25. Sister Chief, please read for us.
Good morning, everyone. I'm reading from the NIV, verse 16. Don't be deceived, my dear brothers and sisters. Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows. He chose to give us birth through the word of truth, that we might be a kind of first fruits of all he created. My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. Therefore, get rid of all moral filth and the evil that is so prevalent, and humbly accept the word planted in you, which can save you. Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in a mirror, and after looking at himself, goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. But whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues in it, not forgetting what they have heard, but doing it, they will be blessed in what they do. Amen.
Amen. Amen, Sister Chief. Thank you very much for that reading there. And again, James using some really stark illustrations here. Hard for us to miss the point that he's trying to impart to us this morning. But yes, we begin in that verse 16. He says, do not err, my beloved brethren. I'm reading the NASB translation here, same thought as Sister Chief who read. So he's saying, don't be deceived, don't continue to have this wrong impression of what the Christian life entails, what the purpose of these tests that comes into your life. There is a benefit. God has an intent here, because it appears some of James' readers were they were beginning to nibble at the bait that Satan was putting out there. And it says, don't continue, do not, or stop being deceived. Okay? So remember who God is. So in verse 16, stop that behavior. Stop thinking along the lines that, woe is me, how did this happen to me? I didn't deserve this. You need that perspective that God's intent in trials is for your benefit. Okay, so try to endure. There's much benefit in endurance and patience. That's such an important spiritual quality, spiritual discipline that we need to really imbibe and have to deal with these situations that do arise and will arise. And he calls them my beloved brethren. I think it's kind of necessary, and maybe that's a little hint there for our leaders and our pastors that, sometimes we need to encourage the brethren, sort of. Well, I don't want to use some little slang term here, but we need to encourage them. So James calls them brethren because it appears James was something of an austere individual, a man who talks really straight all the time. So he calls them my beloved brethren. But I think, of course, it's genuine. He's not just